Hi, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, and wellness advocate, and today's topic is taking the plunge with medical marijuana. And so for those who are new to my channel, you may not be aware that I have gone through hell and back over pharmaceutical prescriptions for fibromyalgia, for herniated discs, depression, anxiety, insomnia, and the list is quite long. So for many people who may be new to my channel, you may want to first check out the videos on my benzo experience with benzodiazepines, Cymbalta, and flying high with gabapentin. But for those who are already very accustomed to me and my story, and you already know my fibro story, you already know what happened to me with the Cymbalta, with the Ativan and the gabapentin and all the other medications for chronic pain, you already know then that I have exhausted all options medically for treating chronic pain and also the whole area to do with emotional wellness. So typically when a person has chronic pain, it goes hand in hand with depression, anxiety, and so forth. And so we can already understand that typically a person who is suffering on a day-to-day basis with different inflammation and different levels that could be higher levels of pain, then we can really appreciate when we have tried everything we can humanly possibly do with conventional medicine and it fails. So for me, I found out the hard way that just in my own personal experience, traditional medicine was not something positive. It was very negative. I had a near-death experience in November 2010 when multiple medications, and we're going to focus primarily on Cymbalta, which is duloxetine, and Ativan, which is a benzodiazepine, were severely interacting. Now, there is a black box warning that states that Ativan and all benzos should never be mixed with Cymbalta. So it is just interesting that the pharmacist didn't know this, didn't check this, that my doctor didn't check this, and that at the time in 2009 and 2010, there was nothing on Cymbalta's website, there was nothing on various medical websites and even literature from the pharmacy that stated to beware of this black box warning, never mix benzodiazepines with Cymbalta, because you end up with a toxic combination that could cause suicidal ideation. So it landed me in a bad place. I attempted suicide. I survived, obviously I'm here, and I made it. And I went through hell on earth with these drugs plus other combinations of potent prescriptions and reached rock bottom. So by 2011, I had really been to hell and back. You know, there's nothing like experiencing protracted withdrawal symptoms, especially with benzodiazepines, and watching your life spiral out of control, watching your dreams flush down the toilet, watching everything that's near and dear to you fall to pieces because you lose your life, you lose your kids, you lose your job, you lose your dreams, you lose your mind, you lose your mental, cognitive health, you lose your will to live because these potent prescriptions can take your mind hostage. And that is my story. That is what I experienced. So when I talk about taking the plunge with medical marijuana, know that this is not something impulsive. This is not something spontaneous. No, this is something well thought out. I mean, at this point, May 2019, I have been over 8 years free from pharmaceutical medications. So I had already been there, I'd already done that, I've already tried many different muscle relaxers, painkillers, and various drugs for degenerative disc disease, for fibromyalgia, for insomnia, for gut health, for thyroid issues, for chronic pain, and across the board there's many medical conditions. When you even just take fibromyalgia in itself, there's hundreds and hundreds of symptoms, and typically the conventional medicine is to focus only on your symptoms but never the root cause. That's a whole other video in itself. But let's just fast forward now that I've been 8 years free from traditional medicine. And 3 years ago, I decided to start checking into CBD. And it was actually because my mother was diagnosed with brain cancer, and I wanted to help her reduce nausea, inflammation, and pain, because it's called chemo brain and radiation, and the different drugs for cancer patients is extremely disabling, not to mention most are cancer causing, but that's also another video in itself. Fast forward that I ended up trying CBD oil myself. Then this led to trying different brands. Let's also really understand that all cannabis, all CBD is created different. They're not created equal. We have to know our ingredients. We have to know where it's coming from. We have to understand how much CBD is in it and the different cannabinoids and THC. And there's many, many different scientific aspects that I will not get into, but that has a lot to do with the purity of the CBD or the cannabis that you are consuming and using. And so for me, I started this journey over 3 years ago. I've tried a lot of brands. I found some that were just snake oil, no good. And I found others that were wonderful. But here's the thing. When you have chronic pain, such as me, with fibromyalgia, herniated discs, advanced degenerative disc disease, and you have insomnia, depression, and other symptoms, especially inflammation in the body, we're talking head to toe inflammation, people, it doesn't feel good. And despite the clean diet and despite being free from those harsh chemicals, which I really believe was a godsend, technically what saved my rear end is tapering off the drugs. I really, really believe that if I look at, what was my turning point to start regaining my health after hitting rock bottom with the benzos, Cymbalta, the gabapentin, and all the other drugs, it's that I chose to taper off these medications, and I decided to go a holistic route. I decided to clean up my diet, ditch the gluten, ditch the GMOs to the best of my ability. And we know that's also a really tough thing because there's so many products that can kind of hide the GMOs, and they're not always honest and upfront with labels. But through these 3 years with CBD, I've really been able to improve my health. I've been able to reduce the fibromyalgia pain, the inflammation, and the various challenges. I am sleeping better. I'm really having a breakthrough, and I believe that there's many natural things that I'm doing, like herbal remedies and essential oils and different supplements for the adrenals, and we're talking about adrenal health, people with adrenal fatigue, people with chronic fatigue, because chronic fatigue is a big part of fibromyalgia, and many people with chronic pain do have fatigue. And hey, let's be honest also, when you start adding into this equation menopause, that's a whole other story, because now we have hormones that are out of whack, and we have a deficiency in estrogen. So we can understand that CBD and medical marijuana in itself has really positive medicinal benefits for so many different things concerning our mental and physical and emotional wellness. And so while some people can misunderstand medical marijuana, or they can misunderstand CBD, there is a stigma to CBD. There's a stigma with even medical marijuana. And here's the reason why: lack of education. You don't know what you don't know, but keep your mouth shut if you don't know. And so many people want to just spout out, you're just getting high, you're just looking for, this major euphoria and you're abusing the drug, and then they call marijuana a drug, and you could call it whatever you want, but it's plant-based and it is actually made by God. Check your Bible, look at Genesis, because yeah, God is for plant-based medicine, and it's definitely biblically based. But we have to understand that there are pros and cons to medical marijuana, just like there is to CBD. My big thing on taking the plunge with medical marijuana is that I've already exhausted traditional medicine. So scratch traditional medicine because it's an epic fail, and I'm just grateful to be alive. I mean, truly, I was close to death in 2010. I did go through the worst nightmare of my life, and I am thankful today that I'm alive. Keeping that in mind, you know, I did choose a holistic alternative, and I did choose essential oils and different vitamins and supplements, things like magnesium, malic acid, herbs that are awesome for inflammation. Turmeric is my number one go-to, extra strength turmeric. But keep in mind, you know, this is a journey. Wellness is not just like a one-night stop, a one-night kind of fix. It is a journey. It's a lifetime journey of just evolving and learning and growing and gaining wisdom. And so I've learned pros and cons about everything, medicine, about the different herbs. There are definite things we need to be careful for, and there's certain people who have to beware even of the natural alternatives because you cannot mix them with drugs. There are some people, they want to take, say, for example, St. John's wort for depression, but maybe they're taking Coumadin. You have to be careful on mixing anything, whether it's just mixing supplements or mixing traditional medicine with alternative medicine. So you have to be really careful, and that's why education is crucial. But there is an epidemic with chronic pain. There is an epidemic also with people dying every day. They say every 9 minutes. Now this is statistics, people. Every 9 minutes someone drops dead from prescription medicine. Here is the beautiful, beautiful, wonderful story that's true. Statistics. Nobody died from medical marijuana. Nobody died from CBD. Do you understand that people are losing their lives to opioids, to benzos, to Cymbalta, and to various medications on the market that claim that they're effective and they claim that it's FDA approved? But we have to understand that FDA approved does not mean that it's effective, that it's healthy, or that it's safe. And I found out the hard way, and I've really learned a lot. I've been an overcomer. I am a survivor, people. I am a badass woman because these hard rock moments toughened me up. It gave me strength to keep on keeping on when I was in a dark pit of despair. And it was a really bad time in my life. It was an extremely difficult wilderness season. And it was a season where I found out how tough I really am. I found out that my faith was a big part of healing. Everyone's different on what is their big turning point and what helped them choose hope and choose health and choose healing and look outside the box, because there's so much out there and available in our world as far as natural alternatives and holistic opportunities to seek another way, a gentle way, a safer way to heal. And so for me, this journey led to CBD. And when you start reading about CBD and you start learning about these cannabinoids that are in our body, God made us with these cannabinoids. For these Christians who are just like, oh my gosh, there is this, I'm trying to find the right word. There is a stigma. That's the word I wanted to find. Stigma, because a lot of people are just like, oh no, that's a drug, marijuana's a drug, and oh my God, reefer madness. And people have this crazy stigma with CBD and cannabis and medical marijuana. And it is just really lack of knowledge, lack of facts, lack of education. And some people heard really stupid, ridiculous things to do with reefer madness and that it could actually kill you and it's awful. But hey, statistics speak volumes, people. Nobody died from medical marijuana. Nobody died from CBD or cannabis or hemp. And so hemp helps me. And I am looking into a journey, and I'll start sharing my journey with you. It actually began a year ago when I went on to the DMV. DMV, the driver, Department of Motor Vehicles. So I don't know why they decided to link in the DMV with registering for medical marijuana in some states. Of course, not all states have this rule, but where I live, they do. And so last year, I thought I'm just going to register. And so I went online to the DMV website, and you have to put in your address and your phone number and your social security number and, put in all the info. And it was crazy because it said, no, wrong information. And it's basically saying, no, your name and social security number and what have you did not match your address. And I thought, wow, that's really bizarre, especially since I've been living here for a couple years. So I called the DMV, and I'm on the phone with the DMV, and I'm asking them, can you check your records? Can you please go on the computer? Because I need to register for a medical marijuana card, but I can't move forward until you approve my address to match up with my name. So she went into her computer and did everything she needed to do and said, everything's fine. The address you gave me and everything on here is fine. Well, no, obviously something's not fine. And, this is part of the journey. Part of the journey is everything just doesn't run smoothly. Like crap happens. And so for me last year, I came across this obstacle that I just couldn't even get registered. They gave a 1-800 number. Now, it didn't really work out. I mean, I called, I left a message. These people waited about 6 months. 6 months to return my call. Are you people crazy? Well, that's a whole other story in itself, but let's just say I have discovered Compassionate Care. Now, Compassionate Care is an organization that assists and will help people like me, who are having trouble getting registered for a medical marijuana card. So Compassionate Care is a certified facility in various states that will help people such as myself who decided drugs are not for them, or it's just not working out, or we just want to try and be open to getting a medical marijuana card and experiencing medical marijuana for our chronic pain and various conditions. And so it's awesome that Compassionate Care is out there. You may want to check out their website if you need assistance. But what they could do is help you and me along our medical marijuana journey. And so what you need, and what I'm actually looking for, so I need to dig into my old records. I have so much paperwork. Trust me, you have a paper trail, especially when you have Social Security disability. You've already made this huge, long paper trail that links your diagnosis, and typically most people have more than one diagnosis. I've got many, and they link your diagnosis with your doctor and with all your testing and all their evidence to say, so for example, for me, it's to say, yes, she has primary fibromyalgia, and yes, she has chronic fatigue, or yes, she has, and then fill in the blank. For me, hey, there's a long list. Herniated discs. I won't even go there. Too many. But the bottom line is, what is awesome about medical marijuana is this. Okay, one, they have all these dispensaries that are certified and legal in the United States. And so number one, yes, it's legal. All you have to do is register and get your medical marijuana card. There's different loopholes some people might have to jump through, such as myself trying to get registered with the DMV. Also, there are expenses involved, such as whether you go to Compassionate Care and you spend, say, $200 or $250, depending on taxes and all the other fees that go into this. But they could help you, and there is certified medical doctors who are very knowledgeable, trained, certified, and experienced in medical marijuana. And this is really crucial because we need board certified doctors on board for patients such as myself with emotional concerns such as mental health and chronic pain concerns such as fibromyalgia, and we want someone on our team. Many of us can experience that our PCP, which is our family physician, may not be on board medical marijuana. They may try to discourage us. They may say, no, I don't want you to do that. And I'm here to say today that you have the legal right to choose medical marijuana. It's not up to your physician. It's not up to your family physician or whoever you go to, whether it's a rheumatologist, a neurologist, a psychiatrist. It's not up to them, okay? Do not seek them for permission. You already have permission. The permission is, in the United States, we have the freedom for legal, certified medical marijuana with a special card. Of course, it goes hand in hand, and every state is different. Look into your state, your laws, because that is really a big factor on criteria to determine if you are eligible for a medical marijuana card. Now, chronic pain is on the list. Also, there is PTSD. I haven't sought out the correct diagnosis. I do believe it's PTSD. I didn't seek out a psychiatric evaluation because, let's just say in the past, I've had different evaluations where they gave a misdiagnosis, and I've really lost faith in the mental health community. I've really lost faith in the conventional medicine community as a whole. You know, when you have been misdiagnosed repeatedly, when you have been given drugs that nearly killed you, you do get to the end of your rope. And that's why most people have ventured into this pathway of seeking their medical marijuana card, you know, to register and to seek this solution. Now, we have to understand, most people, they're not looking to get high. Okay, so you people who are like, hey, you're just looking for, you know, a quick high, that's BS. You know, we have pain, and until you walk in our shoes and experience the excruciating daily, hour by hour, minute by minute chronic pain, you really have no reason to try to point the finger at someone who you don't even know. So until you get your shit together and understand that people who have chronic pain, you know, when we run out of solutions with traditional medicine, and we've tried it, you know, we've tried a lot of prescriptions and it just didn't work for us, then we have this awesome opportunity to choose another pathway to healing. And it's safer. There is so many medicinal benefits to medical marijuana as well as CBD, cannabis as a whole. We also have to understand that some people don't understand this, and this might need to go in greater length in the content for another video, but I'll just say real quick that at a dispensary for certified CBD and this whole thing with medical marijuana, when you go to the dispensary, there's a huge selection. You have to understand, it's not like you're at a candy store and you're just like, give me this, give me this, give me this. Ooh, yeah, I'll take that. No, instead, you're going to have a consultation. This is very professional, people. You're going to meet with someone who's an expert. They're going to help fit you with the right formula of CBD. Now, for some people, this may mean very low THC. So what does that mean? That means if there's low THC, you're not getting high, people, but you are getting healthy. And there's other people who might need THC. They may do good with an extra amount of THC, or they might like equal parts. 50% could be THC and the other 50% could be CBD. So there are so many like opportunities to consider a wide selection. Now, there's the creams and the lotions with CBD to put on your body. And like we know with fibromyalgia, I mean, we got trigger points all over the place, people. You know, up and down your body. There are a lot of trigger points. You hurt like hell. Trust me, the CBD lotion is something you want to try. And I have a friend who works at a local CBD dispensary, and she said their number one product is the CBD lotion. Why? Because it works. And I had the opportunity to try it. Boom. 2 thumbs up. It's really cool to learn from my friend who has all this experience and professional training in legalized medical marijuana. You know, it's awesome to talk to her and to like just soak up like a sponge all this information and ask questions and to be able to try some products. Hey, it helps to know someone. And it's really cool to learn that all these people, thousands and thousands of chronic pain patients, PTSD patients, war veterans, people with mental health concerns, battling anxiety, battling depression, battling whatever disease, disorder. I mean, hey, across the board, there's many. You know, you could be a seizure patient, you could be a cancer patient, you could be an epilepsy, you could have chronic pain, as I mentioned. There's also different things to do with gut, digestive, gastrointestinal disorders. And so there's a list. You have to meet the criteria on the list to get registered with a medical marijuana card. This is something I'll be venturing. I'm glad I have a couple things going on with me that I could kind of fall back on 2 different main diagnoses. So I am kind of happy that I have that going for me. Plus, I think when you are a SSD patient and you've already been approved by a judge that you are disabled, that you do have chronic pain and that you can't work a let's just say regular 9-to-5 job. And so a judge rules in fully favorable for Social Security disability. I think that's actually probably something in favor for you as a patient, because if you've already been considered legally disabled, like permanently disabled, that right there pretty much says everything. And so that's my situation. I was considered legally permanently disabled. Oh boy, the timeline is a little sketchy here because it's been a while. I'm thinking it was at least 4 years ago. Interesting enough, they decided to even take like back pay. So they actually paid me this huge chunk of cash because they end up going back to the actual diagnosis, which was in 2008. So that was positive that they could recognize the chronic pain, recognize this as a disability. It did blow me away because I was in my 40s and I was very young and I have a lot of education behind me. So I have a medical background working in the operating room. I have a beauty background working as a licensed makeup artist, esthetician, and cosmetologist, and obviously you know that I have, you know, various career paths that I've taken, which somehow led me onto now as an author, speaker, and wellness advocate, because now I'm no longer to work. I can't work outside the home. It's just something that happened that I never really would have chosen. But sometimes, you know, there's little blessings in disguise. And what was my worst nightmare, which was with Ativan and Cymbalta and nearly dying in 2010, became this beautiful message of healing, health, and hope. And so I'm looking into the medical marijuana. I'm hoping to go through a compassionate care or another local agency that is certified that will help me get registered with the DMV. I have tons and tons of records with my diagnosis. So of course, you know, you have to get your diagnosis, your doctor's signature, get all your paperwork together, and then seek out your registration. So that's my first step, and I'm actually treating myself to this for Mother's Day. This is my gift. I am giving myself the gift of health, and I will keep you in tune to what's happening in this medical marijuana journey. Send out positive vibes and prayers for me, because I'd really love the opportunity to get registered with a medical marijuana card so I could experience this. I would like to be able to compare the difference between medical marijuana versus CBD that I could just buy myself without a medical marijuana card. So I'd like to experience the difference and to just see for myself, am I getting better results, more effective results with the legal medical marijuana. And so this is something I'm doing. Stay afloat of my venture, people. If you'd like to learn more about me or my books, you could go to danaarcuri.com. Have you tried medical marijuana? What state do you live in? Do you have any weird and funky rules like we do, how you have to go through the DMV? Do you believe your medical marijuana is helping you? Have you tried CBD? If so, is that helping you? Have you gone through hell on earth through benzodiazepines, gabapentins, and Cymbalta? Feel free to share your story with me. Have an awesome day.